Peace, everybody. This your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Here with a live stream today that is most of these live streams that I come up with, especially on my end, are based on conversations that we have within the BAIO with BAIO members. And we had a really good conversation um, about this subject matter. And the topic of the live stream today is titled, Message to the Brothers, Never Lay Down Your Sword. Um, if you look at the description of the live stream, it says, a warrior's ultimate act is to lay down his sword. And that's from the character Nameless from the movie Hero. And then right after that, I have Stone Cold Steve Austin going, "Ah." If you don't know what that means, you can click on the link and find out. In other words, no. And the description goes on to read, if there's one scene that encapsulates the male and female dynamic, it is a fight scene between Flying Snow and Broken Sword from the movie Hero. And then I have a link to the movie, that scene, in the description box. So you can click on it if you want to know what that's about. Flying Snow challenges her husband, Broken Sword, to a fight because she was angry at him for not killing the king. They're both assassins, by the way. He reluctantly accepts and fights her at first, but when she goes for the killing blow, he intentionally drops his sword and allows her to plunge her sword through him. With a look of shock on her face, the only thing she could utter is, "Why didn't you block it?" This sums up the male-female dynamic in a visual way that anyone with a brain cell can comprehend. Women both love and hate a man's strength. They constantly challenge it because they hate it and love that a man can either defend himself against their attack or put them in their place when they do. But if they are able to actually break down your strength or defeat you, they will lose respect for you. If they are actually able to kill you, as Flying Snow did, they will mourn your death and regret they took your life for the rest of theirs. The only downer to this is that you'll be dead, nigga. So the moral of the story is never let your guard down. Never allow yourself to be vulnerable. Never drop your sword. Because the moment you do, she will kill your ass and mourn your death. They're crazy. Haven't you figured that out yet? Let me bring in a an underrated mind.
Woo woo.
Now, what I
Nice to
wanted
be
to
here.
do, I want to see if I could play this, and you guys got to let me know if it actually works, because I want to play this video that Asiri has sent me from a brother on TikTok. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to hear the audio on that, but just just let me know if you're able to. But I got to share this screen in order to get it. So bear with me a second. How are you guys doing, by the way?
Great. Got great weather for a change.
Cool.
Yeah, it's Sunday, so I gotta say.
For now.
Okay. I'm bringing up the window so I can see if this thing works.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't answer those questions from Sisters for Nationhood.
Well, even if you couldn't answer, we expected some comments, like criticize.
You'll put him on the spot.
Yeah. Now that he's here, sure.
Yeah, well, I'll let Minister DeWood, take the floor and whatnot, but I had to plead the fifth, so yeah.
Oh, I understand. I understand. That's all right. We'll get you another time. We got lots of topics to talk about, so.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Wait a minute. That didn't work. Hold on. Let's see.
I saw a screen.
Yeah, it was the
There we
wrong
go.
screen.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Okay. Do you see that?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
there he is.
Now I'm gonna see if you can hear the audio.
Let Will Smith be a lesson.
Yep. Yep.
Vulnerability is not
I
power.
got it. Yep.
I'm born and raised in Nigeria, and I'm from one of those tribes where it's customary for the father to teach his life lessons to his son through stories. This is one of the stories that my dad told me when I was a kid. Pay close attention. Somewhere in Africa, there lived a man and his wife. They didn't have much, but they made it work, and they loved each other very much. At this point, they had been together for about a year, and the man was growing really fond of his wife. He was beautiful, polite, respectful, everything a man could want in his wife. So the man decided he would have a sit down with his wife and tell her his biggest secret. He says, honey, wait here, and then he goes into a high point in the house and grabs a stick. Yes, a stick. But not just any stick. This stick was special. You see, he goes on to explain to her that this stick was used in a ritual during his birth. Apparently, he was supposed to die at birth, but he was saved because the witch doctor had fused his soul to this stick. So in essence, that stick was his life. There was only one rule to it, one very specific condition. That stick was never to touch the ground. The moment it did, it would sever his connection to the stick and he would be dead. So as long as he had lived at this point, a man well over his 30s, that stick had never touched the ground. And yes, at some points in his life, there were a few close calls, but the fact that he was standing there telling her all this was proof that that stick had never once touched the ground. So he goes on to tell her that because he loves her very much, he was going to go ahead and give her the stick as a sign of his love and devotion. In essence, giving her his life. She's moved to tears, graciously accepts it, and they keep on loving each other. It's beautiful. Except for one day not too long from then, the man and his wife get into a fight. Over something very small. My father made sure to let me know about that part. The argument itself came out of thin air. It was non-existent, really. But she had a problem that she felt like he wasn't taking seriously enough. And at this point, she was so angry that in a fit of rage, she grabs the stick from the place he had hidden it in, brings it outside to where he is, and plants it firmly in the ground, right in front of him. All the while keeping very strong eye contact, waiting for the moment that he collapses and dies. And then, nothing happened. He just laughed in her face, because the entire thing about the stick was a lie. It was nothing but a test, and she had failed. Moral of the story, vulnerability is not strength. There is nothing strong about stripping yourself of respect, mystery, or even admitting your insecurities, because she's going to use that ammo against you.
You heard that?
Mm-hmm. Still stand by it.
I think I might get nightmares now after watching it.
Okay. Thoughts?
What made you want to play this on a Sunday? That's my first thought.
Hey,
Why?
what else is there to do on a Sunday?
Is it because there's so much truth?
Yeah, that don't necessarily have anything to do with Sunday. Mainly because I'm free and available. It's very, very selfish of me, but that is what it is. So let me hear a series thoughts first, and then I'll get underrated.
My first thoughts when I first saw it have several layers. So the first thought is we've been fed so much nonsense, meaning our people and our generation. And finally, here comes something that resonates with me because I don't believe that there's any human, because of the human condition, that can, you know, we've been felt. It feels like we've been fed idolatry in a way because we put people up on pedestals and worship them. That's part of the teachings that we've received. So we've done that to women. We do it through the whole motherhood, image, and some women cannot live up to it. And humans, we have our weaknesses. So I don't think if you have anything that you consider sacred, anything that can harm you, go to your psychologist, go to your shaman, go to your therapist, go to your God, your spirit, your guide before you go to each other. Because at the end of the day, not everybody understands the type of loyalty it takes to understand if somebody's going to confide in you something sensitive, if it's the bond of a relationship or a marriage, you're going to end the relationship. You're not going to end the person, you're ending the relationship. So therein goes there goes the marriage, there goes the relationship. Because if you end him, you're ending you too if you depend on him. So that's my first layer. Come back to me later. I'll give you the others.
Well, damn. Um, from that video, well, first it really said a lot, and I guess I resonated, in a way because I guess just in my era, well, just in the modern day now, it just feels blurry, and it's kind of hard to filter who's who. I mean, I have a very small circle, but even looking at my experiences, like with with some of my family members, like my father, for an example, he was in relationships where maybe he had been vulnerable and it just didn't work out. Or, when he decided to compromise something that I don't think was realistic, and his partner, they just lost respect for him throughout the marriage or throughout the relationship. And him telling me that and also seeing it gave me a side eye for a while, I would say, but I didn't, take it wholeheartedly like, oh, fuck everybody and yada yada. Like, nah, it's just I feel like here I have to be a lot more cautious, and I have to stay, on my toes and be alert. So that's my thoughts on the video.
Cool. Anybody want to hear what I got to say about it?
Oh dear. Go ahead.
Man, it's a lot to unpack, but let me just bottom line it. The only really unconditional relationship that a man has with a woman is with his mother. And I'm not making a blanket statement like this applies across the board, because we already know every relationship is a little different. And there's some mothers that's dysfunctional and all of that, but I'm not counting that. I'm looking at the average. If you look that relationship between the mother and that son is unconditional. So, in my opinion, and I think that it's backed up by the data, you never show vulnerability to anybody that's a woman that's not your mom, or maybe your sister, maybe a family member that you're not fucking. Because any relationship other than that is a conditional relationship. Your wife is a conditional relationship. Your girlfriend is a conditional relationship. And I don't feel that you should lay down your sword and show your vulnerability under any circumstances to them. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I won't go into details, but there's been 2 times in my life where I've shown vulnerability and it's come back to bite me. One was with the death of my father, and the other was with the death of my mother. And in both scenarios, I shared that with somebody who I was close to at the time. And then, just like in that video, when a moment comes up when you have some type of disagreement or argument, that very thing that I shared with them that showed them my vulnerability was thrown back up in my face to hurt me, which puts a man in a very difficult position. Because, and I've had this conversation with a Siri before, that men are not really equipped to fight women. We're just not, because how a man deals with conflict is mostly physical. So we can't deal with a woman's on a mental and emotional level, and we can't deal with them on a physical level, because we can't just do to them what we would do to the average guy. If the average guy does something, we could literally put him in the hospital or kill him. You know, that's socially unacceptable to do that with women. So that right there is off the table. Physical's off the table. So all you could basically do is just sit there and take the shit. And a lot of guys are not equipped to do that. So it's not really like, you don't want to create that friction between men and women. So what I'm saying is, the way to solve that is to not be vulnerable to any woman besides your mother or your family, because you're not fucking them. And it's an unconditional relationship. And I've said this before, and people are like, oh, that's so sad. Yeah, it's sad. It is what it is. It is what it is. You've been warned. I have not had one good experience yet where I showed vulnerability and it turned out to be a good thing. Because like I said, when you're dealing with conditional relationships, you're always being judged. You're always being looked at for what you can do for them and what you can provide for them. And if you ever break that bubble or break that illusion by being human, because I figure in a situation where your mom or your close parent is gone, I figure if you're emotional, then it would give you a pass. We don't get no passes. And it is what it is. It may be sad to people, but that's the way it is. So this message that I made for this video today is for the brothers, and my advice to them going forward. Because what happens with us is we get taught a lot of wrong things. And then those things end up being shown as wrong. And then the first response is anger. We get angry because why didn't you tell me this before, so I didn't make a fool out of my goddamn self? That's what most guys' average reaction is. So what I'm trying to do is help you avoid that. Don't listen to any woman, first of all, who's telling you, oh, B, I want you to be vulnerable. Do not listen to that shit, because it's complete and utter horse shit.
I agree with you on that part.
Don't listen to it. And like I said, I've had these conversations with sisters. I've had these conversations with women, the women that I'm close to and friends with. So it's not like I'm just pulling this shit up out of my ass. And like I said, I'm going from personal experience. I would love for people in the chat room who have had a pleasant experience where you made yourself vulnerable to your significant other, and tell me how that went for you.
Come on.
Tell me how it went for you, and tell me that it was never brought up in a moment of an argument, never brought up to hurt you. Never. Show me when that happened.
Talking about the real human nature.
Come on now.
What do you mean, come on now? And
the reality is this. Men are human. I want to give the impression that men are not human. Oh, Spiritless says it went well for me. That's because you're a woman. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Because women have support systems in place. Men don't. Women can be vulnerable. It's nothing socially unacceptable for being vulnerable as a woman. It's very socially unacceptable to be vulnerable as a man. If you look at like the video with Will Smith crying, it's been turned into a meme. Nobody looks at that and goes, oh man, oh God, that's so horrible. They look at you and they laugh. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
People laugh when a man shows emotions. They laugh. So women have the women. Nobody really like if a woman cries, nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, look at her. How can she cry?" Like nobody's gonna say that. But if a man does it, totally different story. Totally different story. So what I'm saying is, you've been warned. You can do it if you want to, but I can tell you from my experience and from the experience of other men, it doesn't work out for you.
Dang.
Because I guarantee you, at a 99.9%, because it's got to be a woman. It's got to be a Bigfoot sighting.
A Bigfoot site?
Yeah. Here we go now. Here we go with the Bigfoot sighting. Here we go.
Yeah, it's got to be that 99, like that 1.9% out of the 99.9%. It's got to be some very small percentage of women that's not going to throw that up back in your face when she gets pissed off. When she gets angry, trust me, she's going to try to find something that's going to hurt you because she can't beat you up. And like I made this point, the woman is more vicious emotionally and mentally. Men are more vicious physically. It is what it is. It's like we get vicious when it comes to physicality. Women get vicious when it comes to emotional and mental. Love Not just says, so how do you build relationships with your significant other? I venture to say, I want to hear your answer to that question too. But for me, I say that this doesn't inhibit the relationship between you and your significant other whatsoever, because you got to know what the nature of that relationship is. The nature of that relationship is you being a provider, you being security, you taking care of the family, it's conditional. It is what it is. You can love them. I mean, that's fine. You can love your significant other. I don't say that love doesn't exist. But what I'm saying is when it comes to showing vulnerability, I don't think that it works in the context of that particular relationship. Show that my suggestion is if you have to cry as a man, find a place where you can be by yourself and cry as a man.
Listen to the OJs.
Yeah. Find some place and cry, get it out of your system, get that load off of your back, and then you go out and be the strong face of whatever for the public. Because you're a human being. Eventually you got to do it somewhere. So do it by yourself. Or if you have a mother that you can do it with her. Maybe your sister, depending on that relationship. But your mother and your sister are going to love you unconditionally. They don't have any physical attraction to you. So you don't have all that other stuff getting in the way. They're not going to judge you for being having a moment of weakness, unlike your girlfriend and your wife. Okay. It just is what it is.
It's time for the second layer.
Cry.
What do y'all have to say about that question that she asked?
That's what I worry about is how do we build relationships? Because just because we've been taught a bunch of BS and distortions from the previous generations doesn't mean we have to keep the same handbook. We can throw it out and we can start, defining our own true things. Some of what you say is true. And I don't look at it as a man problem or a woman problem. It's a human problem. Because the fact is, what we are working with today, we're not equipped. And it shows up in the gaps that we have. We should be able to cry on each other's shoulder. But if we're in a society, a Western society that teaches us to be opportunists, that everything's an opportunity and everyone's to be used, that's part of the issue. That's the bigger context. People are not to be used. People are to be loved. Things are supposed to be used. And we've got it backwards in the West. So that's why our relationships are suffering so badly. So yes, I take what you say with a grain of salt, but I also have the same feeling that Nigel put up that, well, how does this help us in relationships and relating to each other? I'm not telling you, like, if somebody's going to demand something so sensitive of me, my flags go up immediately. It's like, what do you want to know sensitive information for?
Thank you. That's the point that I'm making. First of all, they would not require you to be vulnerable with them. They would not require it. Like, all right, let's put it in another way. Let's say you are not vulnerable with that piece of information that is sensitive to you. Does that destroy the relationship?
Shouldn't.
So then to me, it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the relationship.
Right.
I can still have fun with you. I can love you. I can do all the other. I just ain't gonna tell you the shit that I'm not gonna give you the weapon to destroy me with.
Correct. And that's
I
what
also
your
think
vulnerability is.
I think I don't I take a different approach to it. I wouldn't say vulnerability is the problem. I think the problem is between requirement and being comfortable, like comfortability, because requiring me to be vulnerable or requiring me to give personal stuff, then that's kind of a red flag because
Yep.
it seems like it's a coercion. It's not seem like if you feel comfortable talking on me, you can talk to me anytime, or if you have something that's on your mind, you can come and I will listen and I will empathize and I understand. Like those kind of people. Because there are people like that, like people like the empathizers or the like where we relate to people, we let people talk. I think that sort of the issue is people want to demand like you spill the tea. And it's okay to spill the tea, but it's just there's layers to it. And there has to be a level of trust. And there's got to be not only a level of trust, but you got to express vulnerability too. It's a two-way street.
Mm.
I'm not going to be open to you and you're not going to be open to me. So I'm telling you everything about me, but you're reluctant to tell me anything about you. Then at that point, I'm going to look at you sideways because it shows me you're not really invested. Because if you want to know me and my strengths and weaknesses, then I should know your strengths and your weaknesses as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Equal footing. You got to be on equal footing.
You all see the question Chima asked? Oh, by the way, that was Jabari.
Peace, Jabari.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Peace, everybody.
Okay, so I have to pass on your question, Hala, because I've been single for like 6 years, so I don't know shit.
I mean, underrated. I wouldn't say you don't even have to be in a relationship. You can just be in a talking phase and like get to like thing where you can see like these red flags. Like it's not just like you have to be in a deep relationship and then like to understand. I be in a talking phase a lot. I'm still single, but I've been in the talking phase and just you know I learn and I adjust with my experiences. So you can still speak on it. I don't think you can.
I mean, wait, the question that Love in Asia had was how can you build trust? Wait, no.
You want me to put it back up? Hold on.
How do
Oh,
you build relationships with significant other, with
yeah.
your significant other? What experiences have you had? I mean, go off your experiences.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, there's some fundamentals that we should discuss.
Yeah, I'm underrated, by the way. So you know,
Okay.
it's under the radar.
What do you mean, Masiri?
Well, the fundamentals in my mind, because I'm taking this from experience, is not everyone needs disclosure. Not everyone is entitled to disclosure. Okay. And that's something you have to learn to discern based on the person's character. And like Jabari was saying, if people are making demands, it has to be equal. There's a saying called having skin in the game. And this is where you would use such a phrase. Because if you're demanding something of me, don't demand of me. First, you put yourself in the ring and then I'll jump in with you. But if we ain't going in together, then that's a red flag. You just want me to show,
Don't expect somebody to do something you wouldn't do.
exactly.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah, so you've got those are the fundamentals. And then from there you have, even if it's family, blood relatives, whoever, you still have to assess these people because as Mark put it, this is something that can end you, right? You
Yes.
gonna give them the keys to the castle to end you? Hell no.
Shit.
This is life.
Oh, I learned that. Oh,
That hit home, huh? Underrated.
Keys to the castle.
you tell them one thing and they take it and they run with it. They run with it and never look back.
As soon as they open the castle, about to light this motherfucker up.
Right?
Check out what I have on the screen.
Trust is like a bank account. You can't make huge withdrawals without huge deposits. Oh, snap.
It's true.
Hmm.
So that goes in line with what both of y'all are saying. It's like you can't, when you have somebody that's trying to make you be vulnerable, there's a reason why they're trying to do it. And it's usually
Exactly.
not for your best interest. So this is why
Mhm.
my philosophy is never drop your sword, never lay down your sword, never show vulnerability. If you're a man and you want to cry, cry. Cry. There's nothing wrong with you crying. Just do it by yourself. Go to a nice place where nobody's around. Let those emotions out. Because that's all it is. It's like you want to get those emotions out of your system and then you go on, move forward. Nobody even has to know. Stop thinking that everything has to be full fucking disclosure because it doesn't.
Have you came across, I guess, like a situation where they use your vulnerability and like I don't know, like blackmailing in a way? Like let's say,
Emotional blackmail.
yeah, emotional blackmail. Yeah.
The easiest question is when has that not happened?
Exactly.
Mm.
Oh, I got a better one for you. Emotional rape.
Oh, okay, I'm leaving.
We
I'm
about to
good.
get we about to get
I'm
demonetized
leaving.
because of that. We about to get demonetized.
Oh yeah, you can't say that word.
Why?
You gotta say grape.
Oh, okay. Next time.
Yeah. It's
But that's
just to
what
let
we've
you know.
that is what we
Next time.
that is what's going on out there is we don't harm each other physically anymore. We have to find the mental, emotional, and psychological landscape to do our dirty deeds. This is where it's at. This is the slippery slope. We're living it right now.
Because I would say this. I would say it's more now mental and psychological because, and I don't know how you view it, Holla, but how I would see it is physically, it's a confrontation. It's right there. So it's
Mhm.
like you fight. It's a physical altercation. That's it, and then like whatever happens, has happens. Mentally, it's a whole nother aspect because now it affects more than just the outside. It starts affecting how you move. It starts affecting how you think. So it's a lot more deeper than just the physical. It takes a lot more than just physically, handling somebody. I don't know
Mm.
what your take would be, Holla, because I know you got more experience than us. So
Well, I'll give you an example of I think the two passes that a man should be able to get emotionally is the death of a parent. Right? I mean, can we all agree on that? Like, if a man is emotional because his mom or dad died, would you go, "Oh, damn, what the fuck are you crying for?" Like that, it doesn't seem like that would be the reaction that most people would have. They would understand
Right.
based on that. So that would be the passes, right?
I
Right.
don't believe in
You
the
know what? You know what I say? You don't even get a pass for that.
Mm.
It is what it is. You don't even get a pass for that. And I'm speaking from experience. Because the two times where I showed vulnerability with the deaths of my parents was thrown back in my face in an argument.
Mm.
So what am I going to do? Go do this three strikes you out shit? Let's do. Oh well, let me try again. I know, I fucked up those first two times, but let me try again with another person so they can hurt me again. Fuck that.
Mm.
My advice: don't do it because you don't. That's not a good feeling. Because I'm gonna tell you, as a man, when you get disrespected by another man, your first response is really easy. What do you do when a woman does that? What do you do?
Mm.
So don't even put yourself in that scenario. Leave your vulnerability to your God, which is basically yourself. Because when you're having a conversation with God, guess who you talking to? You. Ain't nobody else in the fucking room.
yeah, I have. Yeah, it's
The
just I,
fuck?
I I have whole different perspective on that. Maybe because the situations I've been through, I have a whole different perspective.
When you talking to God, is anybody else in the room but you?
Oh yeah.
So there it is. That's my advice to the brothers. Don't lay down your sword. If you want to be vulnerable by yourself. Get it out your system. Because most of the time, a good cry, you get it out your system and then you can just move on.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think because, and that goes also with, I would add with Chima's point about what would your advice be to brothers who are disabled or mentally ill in that situation. If they're suffering from that, them being by themselves is not that's not good enough. Even going to a therapist can help, but they need an actual support system, like actually talking to people. So I don't think just being by yourself is just like if that's your mojo. If
Oh no,
that's
you're
your mojo.
talking. I agree with what you're saying, but you're talking about like therapy and stuff. That's not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing the emotion that you're going through at that time.
Oh, at the time.
Right. Of
Okay.
course, I have no problem with therapy or any of that. That's because that's somebody that you can actually talk to because there's no emotional connection to them.
Right.
So that way, so you can feel comfortable in that environment. Because there's no physical thing going on, there's no attraction going on, there's no emotion. You don't know them. You're paying them to talk to them.
Exactly.
So that's a different story. I agree with you in that. But what I'm saying is, just because you feel in a certain way, don't feel like comfortable enough to show that to your significant other. Because trust me, it ain't gonna go the way you think it's gonna go.
Yeah, because that's human nature. We have a dark side as well as a light.
And I think that and the reason for me doing this show is because a lot of times men find out about shit when it's too late. They find out about shit later on in life when it's like, oh fuck, I wish I had known that when I was in my fucking teens and 20s. So now if you're a young man and you're listening to this voice, I'm telling you what the deal is. So you don't listen to people, because your significant other is going to tell you that what I'm saying is a bunch of bullshit. Oh, that sounds you sound closed off. You're goddamn right. I'm closed off. Yes. Because I'm not going to give you the ammunition to hurt me. I'm not going to do it. And that's what you're going to do. Period. That's what you're going to do.
This is crazy.
Because when an argument and the fight comes up, a woman can't beat you. It's not like she's going to Brock Lesnar you up. So she's going to find whatever she can to hurt you. Am I lying? Is anybody going to say that I'm lying in the chat room?
I can't speak on that. I can only speak on relationships. I can't speak on that type of relationship because that's for y'all. I'm the odd man out.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're the odd man out. I think in a relationship, it's relationships. If you're in a relationship with a significant other and they give you that information and you get to the point where you want to hurt them with something, you're going to use that information against them. Unless you're the Bigfoot type, where it's, like the Bigfoot sighting, where it's that rare person who has integrity on that level. That they exist. Like I said, I will never say Bigfoot does not exist. It's just that the sightings are rare. Only a few people have seen them.
Just bring up some random shit. That's why your middle toe bigger than the big one.
Yep. Anything that you show that you're vulnerable about will be used against you in a fight.
I mean, that's what they do in court. So
no, they did that before court, man. That started before court. We're looking at look at our civilization right now. We're doing it before we even show up in court, before divorce happens, before anything. There's a lot of games being played out there and a lot of twisted minds. And you really have to step back and protect yourself, because we're in the age of social media where people like to go on there and gab about every and anything. I mean, some of the conversations are just deeply intimate and they shouldn't even be in a public forum. And I'm shocked that people are feeling comfortable enough to take it there. Like what we're doing here.
And my whole thing about that is like what people don't understand. Like people act like that's gonna give them some clout, and it's like you that's what you think, but the reality is most people see that as somebody to avoid. So
Yeah.
now when you spilled it out, you may have got your clicks and views, but not everybody know that's the person to stay away from because that person is gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make the point that I made before. Going to the bathroom is being fake, man. Why not keep it real and shit in front of everybody? Why have doors on the bathroom? That's kind of fake.
Oh no.
Can we all admit as adults that there's just some things that need to be left privately? There's some
Yes.
things that you don't have to reveal every goddamn thing.
And there's and I'm always the person who's like it goes by case basis. What I mean by case basis means that certain people need to hear certain information, need to hear certain parts of the information, don't need to hear the whole story. If this is if I know you are not that kind of person who likes that kind of information, I'm not gonna reveal it. It's just that reality. It's like a house. A house has different rooms. Every room has a different function.
Right. Underrated
Salima,
is over there cracking up.
Salima, come get your man. Salima, come get your man. You need to get on here. You need to get on here.
Holla, man. Come on, man.
Hey man, like this keeping it real shit, just take it to its natural conclusion. Like how much real I don't want that much reality. I really don't. You can go to the bathroom by yourself. I don't need to see you taking a shit. Trust me. I believe you. You're real to me.
Damn.
But yeah, like I would love to see somebody who has an alternate point of view because some people feel like, well, you're holding back. That's going to damage the relationship. I have an opposite perspective on that. I think it actually enhances the relationship. It sets some boundaries.
Yeah.
Like look at the lack of boundaries. I mean, we could look at this thing being played out publicly with Will Smith and Jada Smith.
Oh, dear.
Oh gosh,
Where's the boundaries?
Well, they've been told to be transparent because they were going on red table when they created that, right?
Well,
So
like
they
I
have to be
said,
transparent.
do I want to see Jada and Will taking a shit? How transparent are we going to be?
I think this was a good test for that. It's a very good test case.
And also, people need to understand what transparent means. Transparent means you can make a point, but you don't need to get into the details. We don't need your specifics on it. We don't need it. We don't need to hear it at all. We can just say, listen, me and my wife have some issues going on, and we're just working through it. I don't need to know all the intricate details. Like this is a book where on this day she said this, and then I responded by this because she been doing it for this. Like, okay, but we didn't ask for that. We just asked, hey, what's going on? Hey, we got some issues going on. We working through it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all we need to know.
at the same time, the audience could be asking her to be more transparent.
Yeah, but they wouldn't even be in a position to answer that if she not set up the context for it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And here's the thing. The audience, they don't know you. That's the difference. This is not like like they know you. Like, and you don't know them. So I'm gonna give you as much information as I want you to know. I don't mind being transparent because that shows relatability, but at the same time, I'm not gonna tell you every tiny little detail about. I'm not gonna tell you every single thing where it's like because that kind of gets that's when becomes a problem when you know every little detail about somebody.
Yeah, and this is one of those test cases because now we know that even though they said they had an open relationship, they're still telling stories that she's a hoe for stepping out. She didn't step out according to their narrative. They had an open
Exactly.
relationship.
Exactly. And then my thing is, listen, if that's the case, just be open about it. Say, listen, or be upfront, but you don't got to get specific. Just say, listen, we had an open relationship. This is how we planned it out. It didn't work out this way, and we're trying to fix things. And that's it. That's all you need to say. We don't need you to say, well, before then, she did like I don't need the back. We don't need all this backstory information. Like we don't need all this back. Holla says it. Just get to the point. Get to the point. That's all we need to know. I don't need the backstory. Get to the point.
Mm.
And I'll give you another example. I saw a video. This girl was talking about a guy that she gave a chance to and dated, and then he ended up cheating on her. And her response was she was doubly upset because she said, "Man, you're not even my type,
Oh,
and I gave you a chance." So you see what I'm saying? See how all that
Hold on,
shit that she
hold on,
kept to
hold on,
herself comes up
hold
when
on,
she gets hurt.
hold on. Wait a minute. That don't.
you ain't even my type, nigga.
Look, so if he wasn't even your type and you gave him a chance, why did you come in with high expectations? What? I don't. That's why I'm glad I'm
That's
single.
my
That's why I'm
that's
single.
my point.
That's why I'm still single right now because I'm making sure that I know what I get myself into and my expectations are matched. Because if you say this ain't your type of person, why would you come in with high expectations with them? Don't.
Like I
Yeah,
said, it's just another example that when you give people ammunition, they will use it against you. As I made this point all the time. If somebody magically came down underrated and gave you the power of magnetism, let's say they gave you Magneto's powers, what's the first thing you would do? You would move something, right?
hell yeah.
What's the use of having powers if you can't exercise them? If somebody gave you the power of flight, you would motherfucking fly.
Damn straight.
So just take it to its natural conclusion. You give somebody power, what are they going to do?
They're going to use it.
And that's why for me I'm hesitant with what I say all the time. That's why I don't talk too much. Or whenever I do talk, I'm always hesitant thinking at any given time, this person can release it. They can
Right.
release it. I never walk up in that approach where I think, oh, that person wouldn't do it. I always think, is this a person who I think they could use it against me? Which is why it's also why when it comes to text messages or photographs. There are certain photos that you shouldn't share with people. Sorry,
Right.
I make a cross boundaries with everybody. I don't do those certain type of pictures because I know if something goes south and it
Mm-hmm.
hits the fan, the last thing that I would want is for those type of pictures to be out in public for the whole world to see.
Oh hell no.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're talking about it because there's also a flip side. It doesn't have to be that the person does something against you. A person can do something for you. And maybe that's the Bigfoot scenario too, in that
Mm,
let me finish. We
okay.
rarely come across people where you can have the vulnerable situation, they have the information, and it comes down to what that person does when they get information. Do they become the judge, jury, and executioner? That's who you have to become in order to go the negative. Or do you become somebody else who says, no, I'm not going to go there. Neither am I a saint, but this person needs X, Y, and Z. I'm going to give them X, Y, and Z, and let's see if they flourish. It can also happen that way too. I'm not saying it happens every day or frequently. I'm just saying don't close your heart to possibilities. Okay.
But pay attention to probabilities.
Okay. Yes.
That and as a man, and especially for the dudes that's out there listening, go by probabilities because what is more likely to happen is what you need to be worried about. Not not finding Bigfoot, not looking for the UFO, not looking for the Hope Diamond or whatever, the Mountain of Light Diamond to be out in the streets when you're walking. What is the most likely scenario that's going to happen? Because that's what you got to prepare for.
Mm.
It's not worth it. Risk versus rewards. It's not worth it. So like I said, I regret it. Every time I've done it, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't do it. I regret it. Because I didn't, nobody ever told me, oh, well, you're not supposed to share everything with the person that you with. Nobody ever tells you that. They're like, oh, you gotta be transparent and just be
There
open and
is
honest. Be honest with me to a
there is a
person
plus
that's
side
not
to that
even
though.
honest with themselves. Like
There
the
is
reason why you was even able to attract somebody is because you were dishonest. That ain't your hair. Those aren't your
They,
eyelashes.
Oh shit.
and guess
A lot
what?
of times it ain't even your ass.
Yo.
But yet you requiring honesty from somebody. Get the fuck out of here.
and they're also, even though without heartbreak and that regret, there's also a plus side to that because that made you a better person. It made you, who you are. And I do think that there is some benefit. Although, like, because I used to be that person back when I was in middle and high school where I used to tell everybody everything, and I was naive, and I just thought people were just inherently good. And I do believe that most people are inherently good and they want to do good, but I've grown, and through those interactions, I've learned to be wise, to sort of be carry myself the way that I want to carry myself, and be prepared for any situation that comes. So there is a benefit to it because, had you not gone through those trials, Holla, you probably wouldn't be the same man that you are today. You might be a very different man if that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think this discussion is good because it's not the good and bad scenario that I like to frame it in. It's a matter of self-interest. And as human beings, we all have that perception. We're going to look for things that interest us and benefit us. And even your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, whoever, they have self-interest, self-preservation.
Yeah, you
But
come first.
well, in some relationships, that's how it works. The whole happy wife, happy life thing is like, okay, if she's happy, she's the only one supposed to be happy, according to that explanation. And how does that benefit him? And then he'll get resentful and then he'll cheat. And then if he cheats, then she'll say, what, it's my fault because I didn't keep, like, the story is so scripted, right? And
Mhm.
it only gives you these two choices back and forth. It's like, I think we're capable of multiple different diverse conclusions that can be drawn, or ways of being. And I think it's for us to define, throw out that old shit that's not working,
Hmm.
and come up with some new shit that includes Bigfoot.
And the thing about it is, and granted, like I said, I haven't been in a deep relationship like that because I like to wait. Now I want to make sure that the person that I'm with or the people that I'm with are people who are really down for it. But at the end of the day, I even had to think about, okay, at the end of the day, what's best for me. Yes, y'all know me, I'm a very caring person, very empathetic person. I'm very compassionate. I love caring about other people. But at the same time, you got to look, like the series said, you got to look out for you. Because if you don't look out for you, then how can you expect other people to look out for you if you ain't even going to look out for yourself?
Mhm.
And I want to get back to that scene from the movie Hero because I think it's very
I
important.
love, ooh, ooh,
Hello?
oh, it's cracky. Oh, it's very cracky. Oh my God.
What happened?
Your voice is, oh,
Oh, okay, hold on.
He sound fine on my end, but all right.
Wait, Siri, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I can hear you too, Hollow.
Oh, okay, all right.
wait, am I
Um,
the only one that's cracking up?
go out, and then come back
Okay,
in.
you're fine now. You're fine now.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk about that scene in the movie Hero. I don't know if anybody saw that movie, but I think that scene was very important, like to me, to show like the dynamic between men and women. Because it's this, I made this point before. Nobody's really giving me a good counter argument to this, so I'm going to assume that this is truth. Women tend to fight for things that if they achieve what they're fighting for, they are instantly unhappy. And that scene is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. She's mad at her husband because he didn't kill the king. That was their goal. They're both assassins. They were hired to kill the king. And I don't want to get into why he didn't kill the king. I think you should watch the movie because it's really good. And so she fights him. She pulls out a sword, tells him, yo, fight. He takes out his sword and he starts fighting her. Basically, what he's doing is just, playing defense, keeping her away from him, whatever. He's not really trying to go in and kill her. So she goes in for the killing blow and he drops his sword and she drives the sword through his body. And the first thing that she says after she does it is, why didn't you block it? Now, as a rational, logical person, the first thing that pops up to your mind is, if you didn't want to kill me, then what the fuck are we fighting about? But that whole thing is not about logic. It's just pure emotionalism. That's the reason why she wanted to fight him to begin with. That she didn't really want to kill him, but she wanted to fight because she wanted to get it out of her system. And then in the process of doing that, she kills his ass. And then what happens after she kills him? Then she's regretful. But guess what? If you're that guy, you're dead.
Right.
So what does her regret mean for you? You're in a fucking grave. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, they should have had sex instead of fighting.
That would have been a great scene.
But you see where I'm going with this, right? So this whole be vulnerable no matter what. Fuck you. I'd rather stay alive. Thank you.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah, not a fairy tale, but yeah, end of story. Have sex instead.
It's not
maybe.
up for debate. Not up for debate.
Obviously, with some people, it's not up for debate. You can always tell. It's the people that are asking for to come right out and say, trust me, or do things to induce trust, or, constantly are in that arena trying to beg you or plead with you, cajole you. Yeah, they ain't trustworthy. As simple as that.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen Hero, I suggest you watch it. Not just for that scene, but just as a movie. I think, and especially if we're nationalists, as a nationalist, you're going to love that movie. You're going to love that movie as a nationalist because it has so many nationalistic, so much land, infrastructure, nationhood themes in it that it'll be an instant classic for you.
Okay, I have to check that out.
It's the ultimate story of putting the nation before your own self-interest. Because at some point, China was divided. Now you're in China, you're Chinese.
That's true.
I don't care what language you speak.
No, that's true. They're very united. And most strong nations, that's what they had to do. Unite.
Sound familiar?
Sound very familiar. Unite.
Sound familiar, Pretendian?
Instead of uniting on Black, we need to unite on African.
Right, because Africa is actually a place. Black isn't.
Exactly.
I feel like if I'm ever vulnerable now in the future, my partner might just be smoking a cigarette looking at me.
Keep that thought, son.
You crying, nigga?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Keep that thought.
Tears rolling down your face. Can't even pay the damn light bill.
She gonna turn into Steakmeyer on your ass. Bitch ass nigga.
Oh, come on now.
Just the whole dark side coming. Stupid ass nigga. I can't believe I married you. Takes another puff of smoke. I want a divorce. Set up the paperwork.
Nigga, you
He's
crying,
already
nigga?
a scene.
You crying, nigga?
Nigga, is you crying?
This nigga is a bitch. You a bitch ass nigga.
I gotta tell Keisha. This nigga is crying. do what Jada do. Put him on FaceTime. Look.
Nobody.
This is crazy. We should not be laughing at Jada and Will. We should be sad. That's sad. Just leave that alone. I feel like a vulture when I talk about them.
Well, no, I want to hear about it. What's on your mind? Come on. We might as well get it out.
Yes, please.
I feel like a vulture picking at, scabs. It's just like, leave it alone, man. It's like, it's bad. It really is. Aside from the Hollywood glam, it's bad underneath all that. And, they're going to have to do a lot of work to get better. And I don't think they're good for each other. And my wish is that they separate.
Do you think I should share with them what I share with you?
Mm-hmm.
You think
Very
so?
strong. Yeah, it's
Wait,
powerful.
what? What the hell? What? What happened?
Well, I was looking at this whole situation and I thought about it. Was this yesterday, I believe? Yesterday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday morning it just came to me. And I don't I don't want to put it out there as if, I don't want it to happen, but I can't deny that it's how I'm feeling. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen with those two. And the reason why I say that is I want you to think about this. When you have every eyeball in the world on you and you do something that irrational in front of the world with cameras internationally, and you show that level of lack of self-awareness and lack of control in an environment like that, what are you going to do when it's private? And I'm not saying that Will Smith is a bad guy. What I'm saying is when you keep shit bottled up for a long time and it don't come out, it can come out in very ugly ways. We got a little example of that, of that slap that happened at the Oscars. And he did that in front of the world. Nothing at no point stopped him. He didn't, nothing said, Will, hey, don't do this when he was walking up. Nothing stopped him there. Nothing stopped him from slapping him. And even when he was walking back, nothing went through his head to say, oh shit, man, what are you doing? What are you doing, Will? Went back, sat down in the seat and doubled down. There's so many points through that whole process that he could have stopped and he didn't. So what's going to happen when they're alone? And there's no cameras around. Now, I hope nothing bad happens, but I have a feeling it is. If he stays with this relationship, I have a feeling something really bad is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no, you know what, two people can be in a boat. The boat's got a hole, water's coming in. One of y'all got to be able to save the both of you, or else you sink.
If I could pick a movie role that he might act when it's private, it's either gonna be from Bad Boys. He might turn back into that, or he might turn into his character from iRobot, or 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 Little Richard. I mean Richard.
Little Richard.
Ali, maybe, who knows, or Gemini. He might just turn into a character and like smack her up or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I think what Mark's highlighting is Will doesn't really have a place to go. And notice how you're pointing out roles. He has to go to these roles rather than there's nothing inside himself that he's cultivated. And he's probably relied on Jada, who is not the best person. You got to be careful when you're with somebody if they're leading you down the path of destruction or if they're helping you. But like, look at Samuel Jackson, look at Denzel, look at their wives. The reason why they stuck it out because those women are supporting those men in their endeavors to better themselves.
Right.
Jada and Will right now is not a good example. They're in a bad place. Hopefully they can turn it around. It will be a miracle if they do. But I just feel like they need to really be honest with each other that they're not in the place that they are currently, they're not helpful to each other. They're spiraling. I mean both of them.
And don't worry, Chima, I agree with you. I don't really care either. That's rich folks' problems.
No, we just discuss it for a good, teaching moment.
And actually, it falls in line with the topic. Boundaries. Boundaries. I really personally don't care about people's personal relationships. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like if I have a person, let's say I have a person who I respect because they are an engineer, I don't need to know about what's going on with him and his wife. It's none of my business.
Yeah, it's part of the problem that we live in that type of celebrity culture where we need to know. No, you don't need to know. You don't need to know
No,
shit.
it's all arrogance. That's all it is. It's all arrogance. It's all narcissism. Like you think that your life is more important than everybody else's. So if I let you in, oh God, I'm opening up the door to the castle and letting you in to my wonderful glamour. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care about you.
Hmm.
I don't care about your life. I don't care about your relationships. I don't care about none of that stuff. What I want from Will Smith? Good movies.
Good movies.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can deliver good movies and good performances, that's great. You know what I want from Ben Carson? Good surgeries. Successful surgeries. That's what I want from Ben Carson. It's like, look at that person for what it is that they're providing and hope that they provide that. It's nothing more. I don't love Will Smith because I don't know Will Smith.
Exactly. He's an entertainer.
I don't know him personally. So all this, oh, I love you. No, you don't.
I know him personally.
You don't love these people. What you love is what they do for you. They entertain you. So you love the entertainment. You don't love them. It's just like what I was saying about Michael Jackson. Everybody, oh, Joe was mean to Michael. He didn't have a childhood. Like, and I always make the point, you don't give a fuck about Michael Jackson's childhood. You don't care. All you want him to be is on stage doing Dancing Machine. Can you admit that?
Oh, damn.
That's all you care about. Him doing the robot. You don't give a fuck about his childhood. Why are you fronting? Why are you trying to act like this is just something? Joe knew exactly who you are. That's the reason why he beat their ass and had them on stage for you.
Wait a minute. Hold the press.
I can't stand that pretentious shit. Like when people try to pretend like it ain't what it is. It's like, you don't give a fuck about nobody unless they. But are you entertained? That's it. Can you entertain me?
Entertained?
Wait a minute. He beat their ass so they...
That's the old school way.
Beat their ass so they can get their ass on that stage. Didn't I tell you to be here on time?
Somebody slacking on the
Don't you ever let me catch you doing that shit again.
Somebody slacking on the drums.
Oh,
Tito.
Yeah. Time to beat that ass.
Oh God.
First of all, do not act like that when I come in the room. Okay.
Oh shit.
The second time today that you came
go.
from my head and I don't like it. I said nothing but peace, and you're not giving me peace.
Sisters for Nationhood Unite.
Exactly.
Gee whiz. What is this? A 2-on-2?
Wait, I didn't even say anything. What did I say against you, sir?
I want to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Why am I instantly attacked? I didn't even say anything. Jeez.
That's so nice.
It's the Oscars.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's expecting to be slapped now.
Right. I don't want to get slapped. I don't like it.
That's a whole nother conversation,
man. Because guess what? Chris Rock is a big man. Because wouldn't have been me. No.
But think about it, Salima. I think I give Chris Rock a pass on that whole thing because remember, in that context, that is the last thing. Like when he walked up, he was thinking that they was gonna like joke around in a bit. He had his hands behind his back. That's how confident he was. Is for him to get like I could just imagine, and you can see on his face, he's processing what the hell just happened.
Not only did he process it, he stopped himself from reacting negatively.
Right.
You could see it on his face that he stopped himself.
Right.
And the crazy part is Will don't know Chris saved Will's life because had Chris started, ain't no stopping him. And I don't care, you from West Philly, he from Brooklyn. And I don't care what nobody say. Chris, he ain't just up there saying the things that he's saying, moving the way he moving, and he can't defend himself. So you think you that was Chris is a big man. Chris, he valued his safety, he valued his freedom, and he valued his business right at that point. And that's what was important to him at that point. And Will thought, I'm getting the Oscar. I done did all of this in all these years. They gonna protect me. They calling for you to give your award back. They didn't just ban you. It's people saying he should give that award back. He don't deserve it.
Mm.
But then we see that is this white man who he left the country and he's in exile somewhere else. I'm gonna find his name because he was raping little girls and they still giving him Oscars.
Oh, you're talking about
What's his
the
name?
director
Roman Polanski.
Polanski?
Yes.
Yeah.
They not calling for his Oscars to be given away. All Will committed simple assault. This man is a serial child rapist, but they still giving him awards freely in different countries. They sending people to other countries to go present the awards to him. But I'm gonna go ahead and sip my coffee because
Hold on.
he thought, Will thought that he was included. Will drank that Bill Cosby Kool-Aid and thought he was protected because of the things that he's done and his career. No, sir, you're never protected. You're never protected. You cannot go according to the rules and the guidelines that a white man is going to go according to. No, sir, don't do it. But they'll learn.
I got a question for Salima since she popped in the chat. It's about the topic. Come on.
Let's hear it.
What's the question?
So I'm a Pisces, so I like to make up scenarios. So I'm just
these
give
scenarios.
a scenario. So, let's say, me and you, nice, decent house, front lawn or whatever. And like, I'm having a bad day, I'm just like, oh, Salima, it's so tough out here. And you're like, what's wrong? I'm pouring out. I'm laying down my sword. And I start crying. Are you going to look at me differently?
No, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I made that comment in the comments for a reason. If I'm in a relationship with a man and we are committed, we live together, our lives are completely and totally intertwined, I should be the person that you can cry in front of. If you can't cry in front of anybody else, you should be able to cry in front of me, and that stays between us. And I should never use that against you and try and punk you because you cried in front of me at a vulnerable time when you needed my support and my love. This is the problem with the majority of the populace, is that we use the people that we care about, their weaknesses against them. And if you are doing that, you do not deserve to be in a relationship, good or bad.
That's what I mean by throwing out the old book.
That's right. Away the old book. If that man can't come to you and say, baby, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. This happened to me at work. This happened to me, my mom, my brother. I stubbed my toe and it really, really hurt. I just need to cry. I need to let him lay in my lap and get it out, because I don't want him taking that outside and then he be this raging person because he got all of this stuff pent inside of him and somebody shoot him.
Thank you.
So if that's not the type of relationship that you want, or you can't open yourself up and be vulnerable and be completely and totally open to me as a mate, then we're not going to work, because I'm going to be completely and totally vulnerable with you. If you ever use it against me, then that's when we're going to have a problem.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
I love you.
And I love my sisters who I'm close to, because the reason why is because you guys give me hope in women whenever I talk to you, because I told people about this with, like, you heard, like, when this whole thing went down, and I'm sorry to keep bringing up this Will Jada thing, but it's the point that I'm trying to make. When this whole thing went down, there were a lot of women online talking about how they love what Will Smith did and da 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 da. Let me tell you
Mhm.
something. If there's a woman that's glamorizing what Will Smith did, run the fuck away from her.
That's right.
Because we live in a society where black men can't just go around assaulting people.
Exactly.
In
So
addition,
she
if that
wants
was
you to assault someone so it
if
can make her feel secure.
Lord, me
Get the
so
fuck away from that chick.
and
That's
this
all
right here
ego.
is going to give men put battery packs in men's backs, so they're gonna go around. Oh, so and so did something to me. So and so is strapped 24/7. You, sir, work in the mail room. You go ahead and let that woman put that battery pack in your back, and so gonna blow your chest open. And then she gonna be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. It was your fault, B. It was your fault. You told him to do that."
Mm-hmm.
So any of these chicks is all starry eyed. Oh, he's defending our
No,
honor.
mm-mm,
Run, nigga,
no.
run.
If the only way you can show your love for me and show that you care about me is to assault somebody, then we got problems. Because guess what? Eventually, that anger is going to turn towards me.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
If Chris Rock had beat the brakes off of Will Smith on that stage, Will would have blamed Jada.
Mm.
You made me get my ass whooped on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's what would have made him divorce her.
And even if he don't take it out on you, he will go to jail.
That too. That is well. That is well.
You can't just go around beating up and assaulting people without repercussions as a black man. You can't do it.
Mm-mm.
So that's why you have to be very careful. Like, defending my wife means somebody comes into our home. Defending my wife means somebody trying to physically assault her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what defending my wife's honor is.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Not defending you against some lame ass joke.
Foolishness.
In a scenario where
When
everybody's joking. Like, if you
especially when
go to a comedy club, Salima, and you got your man with you, and the comic is ragging on everybody. He gets to you and says a comment about you. Your man gets up on the stage and beats the comic's ass.
I'm embarrassed and I don't know if I want to be with you because that was unnecessary, sir.
But there's a
Don't
lot
you?
of women going, "Oh, he really
Yeah, he
loves
defend
me."
and they think that's defense. That's not defense. That's borderline ownership. There's issues with that. With a man needing to be physically violent because of words.
Yeah, it's about self-control.
You know, so I say I'm a different type of person. I didn't find that attractive. I didn't find it cute when I first heard about it. Like, we were talking about it, between my sisters and I was like, no, assault is wrong. No matter, he did not say his wife was a filthy dirty whore. He talked about her haircut. So if this woman has been in this industry for all these years, I believe that she was 16, 17 years old. She almost in her 50s now. And you mean to tell me she can't take a joke?
The fact that she showed up to the Oscars bald means that she's very bold.
And
So
the
how do
fact
you
that
go
she
from that to
showed
being
up
a snowflake?
the fact that she showed up to the Oscars after saying she was banned and we should ban the Oscars. We shouldn't even be. Oh, so now that he's getting the award, the Oscars is okay.
Yep.
When I say there's so much going on in this situation that has absolutely nothing to do with Chris Rock at all. That has absolutely nothing to do with Will getting up there and assaulting Chris Rock. It has something to do with those two people that are in a relationship that is completely and totally toxic. And they could laugh it off, joke it off, or whatever the case may be. There's like so many things going on there. And I never thought that relationship was a good relationship because there was always something going on. When Tupac was alive, there was something going on. When, you know, all the things that that they have confirmed went on in their relationship. Let's imagine the stuff that they never even talked about.
Keep my
Mhm.
wife's name out your
So
mouth.
you can say that all you want. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. I'm a comedian. I say what's funny. If your wife is funny, I'm gonna say your wife is funny. And I'm gonna say it on national TV, and you should sit there and laugh the way you was doing until old girl looked at you with the stink eye.
Don't talk about her soap.
What she meant was stop laughing at me. Not go up there and smack this man.
But you know what's interesting, Salima? Did you see the joke that Regina Hall did?
Yeah, girl.
Woo!
Girl.
Girl. But they was laughing.
Right. Regina Hall's joke was that Jada gave her okay or blessing because Regina Hall was calling up bachelors onto the
Yes.
stage. And she said, "Well, you come on up here. Jada already gave her consent," or something to that
Yes.
effect. That was worse than what Chris did.
Because first of all, she just said at some point her and Will had an entanglement and Jada was okay with it. We think that these things are just jokes, but they not, because both of them was in on that joke. Because a lot of people had to catch up to that joke. The two of them was already dying.
Right.
So, and another thing is, why are us regular folk so consumed with what's going on in them relationships?
Exactly. Who
I'm
cares?
gonna leave my little money relationship. I mean, my little money self over here and let them deal with their $1 million issues. $1 million issues in that industry are filthy and dirty. I don't want nothing to do with them. That's their
So good.
business. They have chosen that life. They want to be in that life. This right here is something that Will thought was going to help his new movie, and now they might replace him in that movie.
Sad. Very sad. But at the end
They
of the
thought,
day,
right,
worry about yourself.
that part. Where if she was so upset, she should have walked her bald head ass up there and slapped him herself.
Oh hell.
Yeah, you know why? No, Salima's right, because this was an ego defense reaction. It's her
And,
ego that got bruised. It's not her health. It's not her physical body.
at all.
It's her ego that got bruised. Because,
And
like I said,
we are talking about a half an inch across and maybe 4 or 5 inches. That's the alopecia that she's talking about.
she can talk all she wants.
It's
Regina
it's
Hall's
it's
joke.
it's the length of my pinky.
Regina Hall's joke says it all.
Exactly.
Because I think Regina Hall's joke was something that exposed them because it put their whole relationship on display,
Well, they
and
do that themselves.
it also showed that Jada was the one in charge. So it
Mm-hmm.
implicated Jada.
Yep.
So they felt exposed. By the time Regina dropped that joke, they were exposed. So when Chris came with his joke, I'm assuming later, they felt double exposed, I guess, and couldn't take it anymore. And that was their breaking point. But
But
Regina Hall's joke, I'm telling you, key message.
they tried to turn this into an alopecia thing. It had nothing to do with alopecia.
No.
Nothing at all. Jada has been shaving her head years before this alopecia came along. Her child shaved her head when she was 7, 8 years old. That's what they do in that family.
Yeah, but her
So
child was also cutting and didn't. Then none of them know.
that
Her and
part,
Grammy didn't know that Willow was cutting herself.
that part.
We got a question in the chat from Chima. He says, Salima, what is your advice for young brothers and sisters who dream of being a part of that life?
I suggest that they one, have thick skin. Two, make sure the people around them actually have their best interests at heart. And three, if it gets too much, just walk away. I'm going according to what I did. The things that I saw, I just walked away. That was not the life I wanted. because
can't-
I heard like I heard people saying things like, you know, oh, she don't drink, so he can't get her that way. She don't do drugs, so he
Oh,
can't get her that way. Like
yo.
these are, and what I'm telling you is not like they were whispering it or they didn't know that I was in earshot. This stuff was completely and totally out there in the open. So when you get caught up in those things, it's something that you chose to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that there are people who are not, you know, they not Mickeying people and they're not turning people out without their knowledge. But I know for me, I heard the things that was going on. I knew that the guy was trying to get me to his studio so he could do something to me. I knew that the guy was trying to copyright my voice. My eyes were completely and totally open. So it wasn't like and I was not in a position where I had like these I wasn't around like the hugest artists. The producer that I was working with, he was a reggae producer. It wasn't like, you know, and I guess because of who I was hanging out with, to them it didn't matter whether or not I knew, you know. And if I knew and I still kept coming around, then I knew exactly what I was getting into, and they was going to do whatever they wanted to do to me,
Hey,
you
can
know.
I share something with y'all guys? Because I don't know if anybody listened to the last live stream that I had did when we were talking about the whole Waylon Jada thing. But this pretty much sums up what I had said before. It invalidates what I was talking about. So I just wanted y'all to hear it. I'm going to share my screen. Can y'all see?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, DL Hughley.
I've made so many horrible mistakes in my relationship. I'm in no position to talk, but I will say this.
Okay.
You're not here to tell my business on TV all the fucking time. I want to go there and say, well, hey, bitch, you better talk this kitchen table. You think we living on? You think we living this good because those set it off residuals? You think they making Nurse Hawthorne too?
Jason's lyric.
Right, they ain't doing that again. And Tupac is dead. He is. So at a certain point, I think the grace that we generally extend to anybody else outside of our partners, we have a hard time extending to them. And there's a certain amount of grace you need to have with somebody who you taking vows to. There's a certain amount of grace you used to have. And that seems decidedly ungraceful to me.
Exactly.
Couldn't have said it better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and
But
like
it
he
ain't those
said,
set it off residuals.
and like he said, those you don't hear much about DL Hughley and his wife. You don't hear, you know, it's business.
Well, it's the same thing with Denzel, the same thing with Sam Jackson.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's it, man. Hold it down. And shut the up.
Man, listen.
Oh,
Wait, did you see that there's now people are going back on the Red Table Talk and on these YouTubes and everything. Will is telling Jada, you know, my business is social media, because at the time he wasn't making any movies or anything. Mm-hmm. He said, so you can't just go and put a camera in front of me and without my permission. Mm-hmm. And she was laughing at him. She was laughing at him, and she said, oh, you see what I got to deal with?
But you see, that tells you something.
Exactly. You disrespect him on a daily basis. That's what that says to me.
Yeah, but she don't know where her bread's buttered. He is the A-list celebrity. She sure is not. And I've heard that there's the Real House of franchise, and a lot of husbands have said they're going to pay their exes not to show up on the show. So there are smart enough people that have figured out they need to shut the up about their business, that it's not to be commoditized and commercialized. That's right. The lesson.
Remember the time you laid down your sword, Will? Don't make me tell how you got that movie role in Gemini.
Oh my goodness.
You gonna look at this camera now.
But he talked about him getting into his roles and his first wife not being able to take his process because he would become the person. And that happened when he was doing what was that first big movie he had where he played the gay teenager?
Oh, 6 degrees of separation.
Right.
Yeah.
She said she couldn't take that. Him running around acting like that all the time.
Yeah, but you can't bring your stuff home like
You're
that,
not
man.
supposed to. And he was
No.
very young. But
Yeah.
apparently that's still the way he does everything. Everything with him is a production.
Yeah, he's got to grow up. He's got to grow up. The narcissism between both of them is obvious. Both are narcissistic, but that's Hollywood also,
Yep.
right? They're not doing anything different or special. That's, the games they play is what they're surrounded in. That's the toxic soup they're in. But I just feel bad for them that it was on so much display. And it's like, damn, how do you get back from this? It's going to be hard for them.
I mean, he's in rehab from what I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see how that works out.
Well, it's a cautionary tale. Hopefully, we all get our lessons from it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not commoditize your business. Keep your business quiet. If you have to go to a lawyer and get a non-disclosure agreement, do so. Because that's what it's come down to.
We got a question in the chat from Chima. He says, Holla, I have a really stupid question. Should young brothers strive to be like Bob Marley when it comes to being with women?
I'm not
How was
playing
Bob
with
Marley?
Chima. I'm not playing with Chima right now.
How was Bob Marley? Enlighten me.
Oh my gosh.
How was he?
Chima, the ladies, man. We got ladies on here. Come on now.
How was he? I'm serious. I'm asking the question.
I'm gonna let Chima answer that.
How was Bob Marley?
Yeah, I'd like to know too.
Oh, you don't know it, Kira?
What did he?
No.
Did he smoke weed with them or something?
Don't let them fool you.
Did you see this where it says Jada cried on wedding day, never wanted to be married to Will Smith?
Yeah, on
Yeah.
the red table. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard about it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The hits just keep on coming.
Listen, poor Jada and poor Will. They're equally yoked right now, if they weren't before.
Probably Bob Marley was just speaking wisdom to them. You can't
Exactly.
deteriorate. Can't deteriorate without this American food, my youth. You know? Or this blood clot juice.
Tell it.
It says he had numerous women and baby mamas on his belt.
Oh shit. Shimo. What?
Yeah, but here's the thing. A lot of people like to bring that up about Bob Marley, but at the end of the day, all his kids know their father. There's a lot running around, they don't know their daddy. Okay? And in ancient times, this was the norm that men had, and Rastafarians, that's well known. They all know it ain't nothing new. And there ain't the shame and the stigmas is really that's from white people looking down on the way that people live. That's their thing. That's how they live. They all know each other. They're brother and sister. There's no strife amongst them. And Bob took care of all of his kids.
And
at the end of the day, it's about does the father recognize the child and take care of his damn kids? Period. End of story.
Yeah, and Damon Marley, he lived with Bob Marley's family.
Yeah.
Like the mother wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. So he took his son and was like, "You're gonna go live with my wife."
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, it was an unknown. All of those kids are not from his one wife.
And let's talk about something else that people don't seem to mention. Why did these women want to have a baby by Bob Marley?
Ah, that's the key.
I mean, Bob Marley was so powerful, even Lauryn Hill wanted to have a baby with his son,
Exactly.
just so
And
she
you
can
know,
have a Marley.
right, but you know what's not spoken as truth? And the truth is women seek out these men.
Thank you.
Stop lying as if it's, oh, this one guy is going out and he's just propagating here and propagating there. It's
Yeah,
not like that. Women seek out these men and they decide who they're going to get pregnant for.
yeah, it's not grape.
Thank you.
Every little thing is going to be all right, my youth.
It's not grape. There's no graping going on.
Lay your
People are
locks
making
down.
decisions that they want to be with somebody based on clout, based on status. So can we please add that to the equation and stop making it seem as if some guy just out here doing what he want to do without participation?
Yeah, because Sydney, what's her name? Cindy, the one that gave birth to Damien, is a far cry from Rita Marley. Rita Marley is like they came from night and day backgrounds. One was a beauty queen, the other one, barely had two pennies to rub together.
Hmm.
Rita Marley was Bob's first wife. And if you look at people who, believe this way, that her skin color, she was very dark skin, but that's what Bob liked. And then he, got involved with Sid. I can't remember her last name, but Cindy is the one that was a beauty queen. So she had international status, but that's where Bob was in his life at the time. When he married Rita, they were teenagers. So it just goes to show you, this is a two-way street. We're in the mode of two-way communication now. It's not just one way where men dominate women. Women have a voice, and also women choose. Women decide who the father of their child is going to be. Don't ever let anybody tell you differently.
Mm.
They already know when they meet you, they know whether or not they're going to sleep with you. And that is fact.
Very much. I'm glad we're saying that because you just total. It's like what I was telling you about before. Like the guy asked the question of if a woman doesn't get wet before sex, whose fault is it? And she said it's the man's fault. And he said, okay, if a man doesn't get hard, whose fault is it? And then she got stuck. Because you're gonna say it's his fault if he don't get hard, and it's his fault if you don't get wet. So then where are you in this equation?
Exactly. It's so stupid.
You're just an innocent bystander. You just like looking at yourself like the watcher while you're having sex.
Oh, yo.
You fucking you
Why?
Watu.
Why, man?
But that's what women have been allowed to do because they've been put up on the pedestal. And that's why I say throw out the old book, because that old book it's garbage. We're not listening to that book anymore. We're writing our own story. Write your own page, man. That's what you got to do. You can still don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. There's still things that are in there that are timeless, that are very good. But you got to recognize some of that shit only applied to that time, and it's time to write a new book.
I got a question going back to the topic. So for guys around my age, for the young brothers and such, well, just for guys anyway, like there's no vetting process that a man can do to see if, well, I mean, no, because you showed the video, obviously.
What's your age exactly?
I plead the fifth. 24. You're asking a
no,
lot
there's
of
no
questions.
vetting, nothing, because you're not gonna do it. There's no need to vet.
There's no need to vet.
The only reason to vet is if you're thinking, well, let me pick the girl that I'm gonna share. No, don't do it with anybody. Period. That way you can save your problem. You can save the vetting process by not doing it with nobody. Keep your vulnerabilities to yourself. And any woman that tells you to be vulnerable to her, run.
Right, but was that his question? Was that your question, underrated? Is how
No,
to vet
that was
or
that was my question. That was my question. And And that's why, because when we had the Sisters for Nationhood yesterday, and you had the question, I played the fifth. I was like, I can't answer that.
What question?
Vulnerability.
What was the question exactly?
It was do we
I
talk
think I
about
remember intimacy and without the intricacies.
right?
All right, now.
What does that mean?
Okay, so I think Mari could probably speak to it the best because she coined the phrase.
Mm-hmm.
So we might have to revisit. But basically, the idea behind it was we were talking about intimacy, saying a lot of times we have sex, but really what we're seeking is intimacy. So
Wait, red flag. We who?
We just human beings, not necessarily men or women, just everybody.
Is that factual?
Why do you need facts right now? We're talking. We're talking about theory.
Okay, because when you say we, there's a lot of assumption in that. Like if a
Okay,
woman
that's
is
fine.
making a statement of we.
No, but come with your assumption. You can throw darts later. Let me just make the point. The
Okay,
point,
go ahead.
the theory was sometimes there are intricate things that we have to maneuver, and it's not easy, right? So it's like, okay, somebody may want intimacy. Let's take your situation about revealing or crying in front of somebody and they use it against you. That's something intricate that maybe that person who used it against you didn't have the capacity and the skill in order to understand not to do that action of using it against you or making you feel bad. Right? Those are the intricacies involved. And that's why it's not everybody that you can share things with. You have to make sure that these people have that discernment and maybe they have skin in the game where they've been vulnerable and know that this is sensitive. I can't use it. And you know what that is? That's called reverence. And reverence is something that we're missing right now.
I agree. Hence the reason why you don't even make it. You know what I feel about it? I feel like to bring it over to another discussion, the whole who are you the father or are you not the father? What they should do is they should make those DNA tests mandatory when the baby's born. Because that way it just takes all of the, well, you don't trust me. It takes all of that fucking bullshit and emotionalism out of it. No, we're testing to see who the fucking father is the moment that baby is born. It's mandatory. So that way you don't have to go through all of this. Well, you asking me to take a test? What, you don't think I'm telling the truth? All this nonsense. No, mandatory.
I don't think it's far away from happening. I really don't.
That's what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Should be. Because I'm going to tell you, I've said this before. I can't imagine being in a situation where I'm thinking that the kid is mine and finding out 20 years later that it's not. I'm speaking about for me personally. That woman better find security. She better find a fucking, what they call that, a panic room or something to get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because that's I can see myself going there off of that.
Yeah. And that's understandable. It's just that's nerve-wracking, right? And this is let's be honest. Patriarchy also does this, and it makes women less responsible because they get to play damsel in distress or child or anything that lacks responsibility. Patriarchy does that. I'm sad to say it, but I'm going to be honest and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what patriarchy does. It absolves women of responsibility because it's also taking something away from them. It's taking away their dignity or something in the form of abuse or control. So because those things are taken away, they say, okay, we won't stress you when it comes to this, that, and the other. That's what it does. That's the toxic soup we've been living in. That's the lie we've been living. Okay? I'm a truth teller. I'm a tell it today.
You tell it today on a Sunday?
On a Sunday?
The Sabbath.
You're having some truth bombs on the Sabbath.
That's what it does. It's a form of, oh well, we've taken so much away from her. Let us put her on a pedestal, pretty her up, buy her a pretty dress, buy her a pretty doll, and Barbies, and candy, and unicorns, and please, this is what it does. Women won't.
That leads to an interesting question. Are we living in a patriarchy?
I don't know if we still are, but at least it's been questioned. It's been challenged
Some
because
people
it
say
needs to change.
gynocracy.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think we're living in a patriarchy.
Some people say gynocracy.
Guy, what?
Gynocracy,
What's that?
where I think, correct, I don't know. Well, they say that if it's being ruled by a woman or being favored towards women, like
Mhm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
No,
but
gynocentric. Yeah.
Oh,
I
is that
think
what they're calling it?
yeah.
Yeah, because
It's woman centered. Yeah.
times will swing. I mean, 1 minute it's war, and next minute it's peace, and after we erode peace, we go back to war. Like the pendulum just keeps swinging back and forth, right?
I think what women need to really decide collectively is, what do you want? Like, women need to get things off the buffet board and make a decision about what it is you want collectively. Because a lot, what it seems to be is that it's like they want certain aspects of feminism, but then they want certain aspects of patriarchy, and it's kind of confusing on the male side. Because like, well, damn, if I'm doing this, then you don't want that. If I'm doing it, it's like it's too confusing. So what do you want? Because if you want true equality, true this thing that they talk about, this 50-50 equality thing, then you better come out of your fucking pockets. Stop it with this whole, oh, it's not chivalrous. Get into that little Gucci bag and pull out your goddamn debit credit card and pay for half the meal.
Swoop.
You can't have it both ways. So if we're going to be 50-50, let's be 50-50 down the line. If we get together in an apartment, you pay half the rent, I pay half the rent. When we get clothes, we get food and stuff, I pay for half the food, you pay for half the. Let's do it 50-50 down the line. But you know what? They don't want that. They don't want it. So then why are we even having this discussion? Why are we even talking about this shit if the very thing that you claim you'll be fighting against, you don't want?
Yeah, listen, but I totally get that because I mean, in some ways, like I said, we're transitioning from that old system to a new system. New system hasn't been defined yet. So I think it's up to individuals. It's a great opportunity to define what it is you want in your relationship because you got to throw out some of that shit that didn't work. It doesn't work if a woman is, in one breath, if you follow the old model where the man is doing everything and he's buying everything, and that just leads to abuse, in my opinion, because if he is putting out all this financial, he's going to expect something in return. And if he doesn't get a return on his investment, he's going to get angry and he's going to take it out on her. And that's where the abuse comes in. You investigate any abusive relationship, you'll find the seeds are the same. He invests.
I agree with you to a certain point. I don't think that was the dominant thing going on, that abuse across the board, which is happening to women in the patriarchal society. I just don't. I know that happened, and I would never say it didn't happen. But what I think what has to happen now is that we live in a lot of what determines your social structure is going to be your economic system. And we live in an economic system where you need two salaries.
Right.
Unless you have a really high earning career, you're going to have two people working. So that's going to change the dynamics of how mating goes and how relationships goes and whatever. And we can have a conversation about that if it's an honest conversation. But when it's a self-entitled conversation where you want all the benefits of traditionalism and none of the detriments of modernism. In other words, you want to be equal. Men can make as much as a woman, but the equal pay, blah, 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 blah. But then when we go on a date, well, you asking me to pay? Well, I'm the woman. That's a contradiction. Can we admit that that's a contradiction?
Yep.
It's a contradiction. You can't say you want equality and then now when it comes to the mating, now I'm coming out of my pocket and you could just save yours.
No, you got to pay.
Because I can tell you some stories. I can tell you some stories. I had there was friends that I know who were married for 20 years, had to work 2, 3 jobs to take care of the kids and the family, whatever. And then when they got their divorce, their wife had saved $100,000 of her own money.
Mm-hmm.
He's busting his ass for the family. She's pocketing her shit.
Wow.
That ain't no fantasy. That's real.
Oh shit.
So people got to make a decision. What are we going to do here? If we're going to have traditionalism, then what parts are going to be traditional? What parts are going to be modern? I think that's a discussion that both men and women need to have.
But wouldn't a judge have put, like, everybody's got to do financial disclosure? So,
Oh, the judge was a reasonable person and said, what? That her reaction was the same as everybody else's reaction. So he's working 2 jobs, getting a 3rd job. And in the meantime, you just pocketing your money because they both worked.
Yeah, but still, they have a family. They're both responsible for the family.
Well, not according to some women. They're not supposed to come out of pocket for nothing.
Yeah.
But they want to they want to have all the privileges of modernism.
That's not realistic, though. Honestly, it's not realistic because you still want to be Scarlett O'Hara on one hand and have this mindset of being taken care of. It doesn't happen. Like, it's part of a fantasy, and it's incorporating fantasy into your. I don't mind fantasy in the bedroom and all, but that kind of stuff is just distortion. It's nonsense. It doesn't work for a foundation of a relationship.
Woo woo woo.
The sacred place of all time, the bedroom.
But let's wrap it up. Black privilege. I see you want to come in, but we getting ready to end the show, so it doesn't make much sense to bring you in now. But I want to have your last thoughts on this whole topic. Never lay down your sword. I'll let Asiri go first.
We need to throw away the old book and write a new book, basically. Some of what Mark just said is correct. There's certain parts that you will have to hold on to, but I think there's certain parts that may build meaningful bonds between you and your partner, whoever that may be. And you need to learn the skills of discernment and build trust. It's not everything that needs to be revealed. There still needs to be mystery between you and your partner. There's obviously some parts that are going to be hidden, and let them try to discover it along a lifetime. But to completely say no, I don't think is possible or even something I would look forward to. But it should happen naturally. Don't let people try to make demands of your emotional state. That's off the table for me.
All right. Underrated.
The only thing I have to say is, nigga, is you crying?
You are a gem.
I hope this is sweat, because if this ain't sweat. Hold on, let me tell the kids to go to bed, kids. Is you crying? Oh, hell no.
I know this nigga ain't crying.
Crying? Give me my Balenciaga bag, then we'll talk. Where's my Gucci flops?
You're killing me.
That's all I gotta say.
Well done. My final thing to say is this. And I'm speaking to the brothers. Like, this conversation is not really me speaking to the sisters, because the sisters already have a support system in place where they can be vulnerable, they can cry, they can actually be delusional. They can believe that they're not really fat, believe that they're not really out of shape. They can believe that, and they have a support system in place that will accommodate them. Girl, there's just more of you to love. Guys don't have a support system. So if you're a fat dude, you're going to hear from your friends that you're a fat bastard and you need to get your ass to the gym. You look like a fucking slob. What's wrong with you? Da 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 da. Whatever. We know as men the conversation that you have with guys that's out of shape. There's no support system to make you feel good about yourself. So, in light of that, there's a different set of rules for us. And what I'm suggesting, nobody has to listen to me. Based on my experience and my time on this earth, the conclusion that I've come to after putting myself out, a couple of times, not multiple times, but a couple of times, and being vulnerable, is that shit does not work out for you when you do that. Keep your vulnerability to yourself, like Asiri said, yourself and your God, which is basically the same thing. Because like I said, when you're talking to God, there's nobody else in the room but you. So keep that to yourself. If you want to have a good cry, you want to scream, throw things around, do that in your own little space. Find a space that you can do where you can do that by yourself, get it out of your system, and then keep it pushing. Do not share your vulnerabilities with your woman and with your wife and with your girlfriend. Do not do it. You've been warned. And on that note, happy Sunday, everybody.
The Sabbath.
Happy Sunday.
Blessed Sabbath to you all.
Peace, everybody.
And I think that we left on a high note. That's a high note to me.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, y'all, it's been real. Thank you for the time. We're going to be out of here. We hit a little under 2 hours, so that wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you, Asiri. Thank you, Underrated, for joining me.
Anytime.
Oh, are we going to be on the lounge? Are you guys going to be on the lounge tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I will be this time.
All right. So I will see you guys on the lounge at 8 p.m.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.